and I'll introduce myself first. I'm Paul Hampton. I am the Beaverton School District TOSA for Science. And so I have taken over for Caitlin Everett. She is now gone to the dark side and is an administrator, assistant principal. She's doing very well down in the Sherwood School District. So we got your names from all the information from prior years, and we certainly appreciate your participation here. And Stefan is with Hillsborough School District, done this one other year. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Yes, my name is Stefan Ledgerwood. I've been in Hillsborough since 2005. I do have students that participate in the fair. This is my second year, sort of acting as co-directors with Caitlin last year and Paul this year. So we are two fairly new people to directing affairs. So be patient, ask questions. We'll do our best to get you the answers as we can. So I teach math and engineering at Liberty High School, and also I'm a STEM coordinator for the district and a robotics coach and a jack of all trades, if you will. So we'll go ahead and get started, and then we'll save some time at the end for questions. But once again, if you have one that you kind of want addressed in the moment, just type it into the chat, and Paul will read it out, and we'll take care of it. So first off, welcome. Judging officially can start today. We'll verify that we have that date turned on. I think in one spot it says the 19th, but officially students' projects should be in and submitted, and all of their paperwork and videos should be there. Maybe have a little bit of patience over the first day or two, and maybe just preview a project or two to get going. We'll talk about what that looks like. I do know some students tend to trickle in, procrastinate a little bit, and then run into issues. We'll get to that in a second. The fair is virtual this year. We have the official live face-to-face time is on February 26th. So you'll preview projects anytime between now and then that are in your category you're assigned to. And then on the 26th, we will have students in a similar Zoom meeting like this. There's 2 one-hour sessions. All of this is on the BHSC website, which I'll reference a couple of times today. If you haven't seen that, I encourage you to check it out. Process. At the very end on February 26th, we will have 2 one-hour sessions. You'll meet all of the students in your category that you're assigned to. Some of you are assigned to a couple of categories because of project size, project category size. We've only got 3 microbiology projects, so we clustered those with a similar theme. So after those 2 one-hour sessions, you'll have a special judges deliberation meeting where you and other judges of your group will talk about what your ratings were and pick winners, first, second, and third place. So if you are a special award judge, I don't see any of them necessarily here, but I can't see everyone. You'll get a follow-up email because that process is a little different to what category judging is. Very quickly, you guys all know how to log into the A4 website from the Northwest Science Expo website. That's where you're going to go for judging, is the A4 website. It's a little different this year if you did virtual judging last year, but you can click on the judge section. When you do that, you should see, as of 2 days ago, your final judge assignment will appear here. We're having a little bit of issues on our end, and Stephanie, our fair director for all of Oregon, is kind of out of communication zone right now, but the judge type, we're kind of struggling to figure out how to get that to be exactly what it is. I'll show you if you're a finalist or not on the next screen. Basically, if you see special award in your assignment, that means you're also a finalist judge. A special award label will allow you to view all projects in the entire fair. If you just see specific categories, then you're just judging those specific categories. So as you log in, you'll kind of get that information there too. On all week, as you're previewing projects, you'll go here, you'll click on abstracts, and that will take you to a screen similar to this one, which I'll show you more directly here in 1 second. You select the category that you want to view. If you're a special award or finalist judge, you will see every category listed. And if you're not, you'll just see your categories that you're assigned to, just to keep it simple. Students should have an abstract on this. I would encourage you to read it here first. Not all of them have abstracts in their folders of content. If you see an abstract is missing, you'll just go to their folder and find out as much information as you can. We're in a little bit of a weird technology spot here because you know, some students are missing various pieces of information, and even still at this point. So if you see an abstract, I think it's safe to assume that you can go ahead and completely preview that project. If you see one's missing, you may save that one till a little bit later so that you don't have to spend a lot of time going and previewing it again if one pops up. That's kind of our reasonable part here. Last year, we scored on Google spreadsheets. This year, there's a scoring tool that's been enhanced in the system. So let's just go ahead and jump out and do that really quickly. Let's see, can I get out of this? Yes, there we go. So here's your Affiliated Fairs website. You'll log in as a sponsored judge. And I'll just very quickly log into mine so that we can see what it looks like. And here's where you can click on your judge area. This is exactly what yours will look like. I only gave myself special awards because I'm not judging a category. So if you only see that, you're a special awards only judge. If you see categories and that, once again, you're a finalist, best and fair judge as well. So you can click on you can click abstracts here, or you can click on your assignment. They both do work the same. Oh, actually, I can't click on my assignment because I'm only a special award judge. So let me go back. If you click on abstracts, this is that screen that I just showed. I'm a special awards judge, so I have access to them all. And let's say we're in the chemistry category. There are 5 chemistry projects, and here are the 5 projects. Here's one that's missing an abstract, so I might do that one a little bit later and see if the student does some updating. So I'll pick one. I'll go into there. I'll read the abstract. I'll go into their folder. That'll open up a separate Google folder. You see they have a video. Students are allowed a 3-minute video this year and not a 10 minutes. So we kind of reduced that down. They get 10 total minutes between the video that you will preview and the judging session on Saturday, next Saturday. They've got a research paper. So they've got different things in here. They should, at a minimum, have a research plan, a video, and a slideshow. If you're missing that information, probably save that one, maybe by Monday or so, Monday, Tuesday. If they don't have anything updated, go ahead and assess them on what they have, and just realize on the day of fair, you may not have great questions yet because they haven't given you enough information. All right, so back to this screen. We have a project scoring tool, and there's a video to this project scoring tool right in the Affiliated Fair website when you log in. If you go to this judge training resources, Stephanie has recorded a really precise 5-minute video about how to score projects and what this looks like. So that is available at your leisure. Watch it as much or as slowly, as quickly as you need to. So under the project scoring tool, I'm in this specific project for this student. We can now start to assign scores, and these are relatable to numbers directly. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you think about it like that. Exceptional is your qualification for very complete, highly detailed, and then working your way down through it. Good, I would take that as being, everything's here that needs to be here. Is a little unclear some pieces, but you definitely get a decent idea of what they were trying to do there. So, and if something is missing, lacking, that is your best label for, I don't know, that we don't have enough information for that. So I can't save this one, but let's say this student, I've previewed their video, I've read all of their materials. Creativity is definitely not lacking. We'll get adequate for that one. Did they have a slide deck or a poster? Yes, it was exceptional. You can do all of this, and you should do all of this before Saturday. On Saturday, you will judge their interview, which is the heaviest weighted of all of the categories individually. And so that should be your only thing that you have to do while watching the interview. Obviously, on Saturday, you're welcome to go back and tweak these if you need to and make some final adjustments. The student comment is exactly what it sounds like. Students will be able to see that. The private notes are only available to you. They're not actually even available to other judges. That's just your private note spot, just as you're previewing. Maybe this would be a great spot if you have questions that you want to have available for you on Saturday. You could type in a few questions that you want to remember to ask the student. You can save scores and then close the window when that one particular one's done, but I did not click save scores. All right, after you've viewed all of your projects on the fair, previewed them before the fair and at the fair, there will be, let me go back to my presentation here. There will be a deliberation section. We do have student rules for the interview. I guess I should jump to that first before we get to deliberation. We're suggesting students only take a minute or two to talk and allow most of the time for questions. That doesn't always happen. Students are really excited. They want to tell you about their project. And so as you're in your room, if you feel like that's happening, they only get 7 minutes. They only get 7 minutes. That's the budgeted time that they have. So feel free to, especially if you're the head judge of that particular judging room, feel free to can we ask a few questions with a few minutes to go and kind of cut them off. Oh, my light just went off. Been sitting still.
I've got a quick question.
Yes.
Do all the students see all the interviews?
The students will see all of their fellow competitors in their judging session. So they'll see at most 5 other students.
Okay, so when I'm interviewing one student, the other students in that category are going to see my interview with that student.
They will hear your questions if you ask questions. Yes, they will not see your screen because you will not be sharing your screen, so they won't see scores or anything. But yes, they will see your interaction with that student. That is correct.
Okay, I would prefer that not to be the case, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's our best way to manage it in a virtual setting, and I'm fairly certain next year we will not have to be virtual. Fingers crossed. So,
okay.
Yeah, but do keep that in mind. Other students will be watching, but they won't be contributing. Obviously, they're supposed to stay muted during other presentations completely. So, yes.
Stefan and Charles, I did this in the Gresham Barlow fair last year, and I thought it was effective having all the students listening, because I mean the main thing here is for them to learn stuff. At least that's how it worked for us. So there weren't any awkward moments, at least when I was judging.
My only point is that since I will ask similar questions, the first person hears gets the question without knowing it, and then the other students will have had time to prepare for my questions. But
yeah, I get that. We did discuss this last year when we set this up with Caitlin, and we found that the benefit of having kids watch students watching other students was tremendous for them. Although you'll also kind of realize that you won't have to ask the same question, because if they're paying attention, they'll just answer your question before it's asked. They're like, oh, I should probably talk about that because Charles is going to ask that question if I don't talk about it. Well, there is definitely some of that. You can take that into account with your judging if you feel like later students had a benefit.
Sure. Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Question along the same lines. Are students allowed to ask questions of their fellows?
No, they are not allowed to ask questions of fellow students. We will have a judges or a student orientation meeting next week, and they'll find out kind of the rules of that as well. So They do not get to ask questions. All they are there is watching, waiting their turn. And then when a student is done, they basically swap spots in the presenting mode. Good question. Yeah, there's no student to student interaction other than watching. This is the time after you have your 2 1-hour sessions, which will literally fly by. I mean, it'll be over before you know it, and you'll be like, okay, now I got to go do stuff. So you'll come back into a Zoom meeting, and a head judge will coordinate a collaboration of all judges in that session, and you'll decide at that point using, maybe it's scores, maybe it's also, you ultimately have final say. So if points say somebody's second and you realize they're realistically first, that's the part of the judging process. You guys are allowed to do stuff like that. Let's see, if you're nominating for best and fair, and we have a decent number of experienced judges that understand what that means. You're saying a project is capable of going all the way to the International Science Fair. It's that quality of a project currently. It's one of the top in your group, and it has the ability to move on. It doesn't need a lot of extra work. If it's not at that condition, oh, we got music playing, school starting. If it's not at that condition, then they'll still go on to the Northwest Science Expo if it's a great project. They just will have more time to clean things up. So best and fair, we reserve those to really, really finished projects. We normally target 8 to 10, but every year it's a little bit different. To be honest, our fair normally has more than 8 to 10, and we have to kind of figure out who are the top 8 to 10 projects. Couple of things to consider. I'll let you guys read that. But we do have students from different backgrounds. So, gosh, my phones are going crazy. All right, that is officially the end of the presentation as my music's playing. We'll open this up for questions, and hopefully my music will stop soon.
I do have a question. How do we treat the projects that are continuation from previous years? Was I muted? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Can you repeat that again? I've got music in my room because school is
okay.
literally running right now.
How do we treat the projects that are a continuation from the previous year or previous years? Do we judge only the new material or the entire thing is considered?
If it is a continuation project from a previous year, sorry, this is super annoying. My music is extra loud today. Continuation projects, you're only judging on the current year's work. So you are instructed to ignore the previous information. That's just background knowledge that the student has attained at that point, and it's only from current year.
How do you know if a project is a continuation or not?
All right, so in the paperwork part, and this is definitely in the additional judges video if you watch later. In this, when you go into their online materials, or if you go into their worksheet, there are extra pieces of information about it being a continuation project. And is this one not complete? Oh, that's not where I need to go. When you go, that's a good question.
So generally, when it's been a continuation project, I understand what you said, Stefan, about not judging, but we usually like to know how this new project is substantially different from the previous one. So, that they didn't just do more, more samples or more whatever, and it's basically the same as the previous one. And I haven't really ever had anybody do that. They've always, the continuation ones, I mean, sometimes they're really fascinating and they do a lot more. So each time it gets substantially better. So, I like to look at the paperwork because I want to see if it's a continuation. I also like to look and see what grade they're in, because sometimes that makes a difference to me in judging too, whether, some freshman or sophomore is really stepped up way above what you would expect for a first time science fair person.
Thanks, Sandy. Yes, that's definitely true. And there are other forms that I did not preview in here that are in the video, just to kind of keep our time short. But in the checklist 1A, there is a box if it's a continuation. So that form has to exist in every student's folder to be approved to be in. And you can literally, as you're checking through and picking up names and grade levels, you can see whether it's a continuation.
So do I understand correctly that they need to post an abstract from the previous year in their folder, right?
No, they do not post from their previous year into their folder. They're just showing you the current research.
Well, this is what the form says. The abstract is attached. The form that you just showed. 6A, attach the abstract from the previous year.
Oh, I haven't looked to see if we have a continuation project. Paul, do you remember seeing any of yours? And we could go see. I think they actually just produce a really simple abstract of their previous year. I don't think they usually include all of the extra information. Or Sandy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And,
But they
it was-
do provide that, right?
it was pretty obvious because they're proud of their work. And so it is last year I did and I found, and so this year I thought I would.
Actually, that's not my experience. I've seen multiple continuation projects that it took judges had to ask for it to actually know that. And that puts students, unless the judge asked, judges would think it was not a continuation, whereas it was actually a continuation. So that created some non-uniformity.
Yes, that's definitely a thing to consider. If a project looks ISEF ready, a great question is, was this a extension of a previous project? That is a great question. We do have students that do that. I know of a few that have gone to ISEF and they have had continuation projects. And it definitely happens. I think you'll be able to tell if it was for sure isn't a continuation project, but if it's on the fence, it's a good question to find out background information.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I'm so sorry about all the music playing. It's super loud today. Sandy, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I saw, I haven't judged your fair before, but I saw where I'm down for animal science as well as behavioral science. So I'm just hoping that there are going to be some other judges in that category. Because
Yes, there are multiple judges in every category. We have a
Good.
minimum. Our smallest one is actually plant science. We have 2 judges. In your particular category, we have 3 judges, including another experienced judge is in that category as well. I believe one of the 3 of you chose animal science. This is part of our puzzle of getting judges into the right spot. One of the 3 of you was in animal science as a choice, and I think 2 of you were behavioral. So, but that kind of fits the ratio of what's there anyway. When you're picking category winners, you're actually picking for each one. So we don't judge them as a cluster as first, second, third place. It is definitely individual. So
right. So for the deliberations, though, will we be meeting together?
you will
as
all
one
3
group?
meet together, exactly, because you've all seen them all. And definitely people with more expertise, if you're in a split category, can contribute a little bit more than if you don't feel as comfortable judging that category. A great example in this category, there were no people that chose mathematics, I believe. But the understanding is with a few people there, you would be able to draw on your multiple experiences to, pick the first place mathematics project. I don't know how to pick head of category in the software. I mentioned that we haven't figured that out yet, but the judge at the top of each is technically going to be assigned to the head judge. And that just means they run the deliberation room. And they ultimately click a button that says what they've selected for your group. And then, of course, if you're a finalist, you should have gotten the special awards label in your list as well. But this is where that's labeled. Good question. Other questions?
Are we gonna get a follow-up email with Zoom links for the rest of the?
Yes, that is correct. Over here on Day of Fair for the BHSE website, we'll put all of that information. We're kind of waiting until probably Monday to put the Zoom links so that we can send an email to students and they can know where to go and look once it becomes live and active.
Okay,
They're basically going to have a Zoom link for each of these judging groups. So that's how that'll work out. And the projects are split down the middle. So you've got 12. It'll be 6 and 6 in your 2 1-hour sessions. So that gives you 42 minutes of project viewing time in a 60-minute window. So you have a little bit of transition time built in if you need it.
In the computer science group, there's 2 separate criteria for judging, one sort of science-based and one engineering-based. Is that also in the forms for them to say what kind of project they are?
There is, I believe in the system, which is fairly new, in the project scoring tool, which I can go to computer science and we can see what it looks like. When you go to the project scoring tool, it automatically pulls up the appropriate rubric for that. There are two main rubrics. And I think they're all pulling from the same rubric at that point. So I think they've simplified, at least in our local fair system, they've simplified that down pretty significantly. I know that ISEF's a little bit different, and this is the same system that the state is going to be using to choose for the Northwest Science Expo as well too. So
I'm not sure I quite understood.
to answer your question, I don't think there's actually 2 that you pull from. There's a single rubric for each one of them.
I looked at a bunch of materials, then I don't know, I definitely did see something separate for engineering versus more researchy.
Yeah, there's a science rubric and there's an engineering rubric. There definitely are 2. When I'm not sure which one computer science ended up pulling from. I think it's actually pulling from the engineering rubric. Looking at that, if we look at more of a science category, actually these are the same too. So I think they've simplified it down for our state fair system to be pretty generic in that regard. But over at when you go to the very first screen here and you go to judge training resources, Stephanie does a pretty good job of talking about judging a category. And there's some other content down here too, including, is this where you found your information, Todd?
No, I think I did look at this, but again, this wasn't where I saw those 2 criteria for engineering versus non. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is it.
Yep. So in that first link that we get to from the affiliated fairs that has the training videos, if you go a little further down, there's a judging criteria. And in your judging criteria, you can see this is what ISEF uses. We don't require judges to use this necessarily. We've simplified it down to that other system. But the ratio of points does match generally the ratio of points that they're attached to for ISEF. So you see they both have research plan, research question, research plan. Very, very, very similar creativities in both of them. And so we just took that. Well, I didn't, but Stephanie just took that and turned it into our rubrics that we have here.
Okay, yeah, I understand. One other quick question. When is when are they supposed to have submitted the final stuff?
Technically already. their email said that you guys are good to go today. I have gotten a few emails from students about, I'm almost ready, the last minute student spot. So if you start judging today and stuff is missing, and then all of a sudden on fair day, a bunch of stuff shows up, then you've got to make your judgment as a judge, and that can be part of the scoring that you do. Obviously, we want to be super positive with students. We want to support them in their science and engineering inquiry, and but at the same time, professionalism is a little bit part of it. So
Gotcha. Thank you.
yep.
So just another quick question. So the special awards thing, is that going to be part of the deliberation meeting? And also, do we know ahead of time what the special awards are that we need to be keeping an eye out to award?
There are only 2 special award judges technically this year, and you are not one of them, Sandy. But
Oh, okay.
you are, Sandy, a finalist award for
Oh,
Best
okay.
Fair. So the only way for us to give you access to every project in the fair is to give you the special awards tag.
Oh, okay.
So that's where that's coming from.
I had two quick questions. Charles asked about the link, the Zoom link, and you said it'd be on a web page. Will it be emailed to us also?
Yes, we can send that to you. I mean, we'll probably likely send this link out to judges and say, hey, here's last little reminder for
Perfect.
Saturday. Here's the schedule.
Yeah, good.
Fair.
Okay, other question is, who keeps track of that total 10-minute time? Is that the head judge in that group?
You will have a teacher on special assignment from the Beaverton School District.
Hey, professional does it for us. Great.
Yes, that particular person will run your Zoom meeting. They'll tell you what project is next. Your job is just to judge. They'll remind students of the details.
Okay, great. 10 minutes, based on my experience last year, 10 minutes is a little tight, but we'll do it.
Yeah, and it's technically 7 minutes, but we build in a little extra time because we know it's definitely tight. The students have been told 7 minutes. I would, and the TOSA is going to the teacher that's in charge of the room, they'll put just in the chat 2 minutes remaining. So the student knows there's a little bit of time. You all
Okay.
know there's a little bit of time, and you can definitely jump in and say, hey, just a few questions, because I know that happened a fair amount last year. Students want to talk. And then you don't get the back and forth. That's super important.
Right, and some projects are so interesting. I mean, they sort of ask for more questions. The projects themselves do, but we'll do what we can.
And if you're a finalist judge, you do get 10 minutes as a finalist judge with them later on. So there will be a follow-up presentation for the best and fair projects. And that is a longer window.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
How many projects are nominated for the ISEF? Okay.
We have 4 ISEF nominations directly from Beaverton Hillsborough this year. And so out of those, 8 to 10 usually projects that are in the running for that, the finalist judges will pick the top 4.
Is there a separate allocation for Hillsborough and separate allocation for Beaverton like it was last year?
In most years, pretty much every year, we try to include at least one from each represented region of students. If there's a reason to not include one particular region, then Paul and I will be in the finalist judging room. We won't be judging projects, but we'll be there in case you guys have questions at the end. Out of all of that, we're there to help guide. But ultimately, we typically try to go with at least one from each out of the 4.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. If you have follow-up questions, you should be able to reply to Paul and/or I. I think Paul's email is technically attached to the judging section of this. So send the email. If he can't answer it through the affiliated fair system, I'll be able to assist as best I can as well too. Remember, we're sort of rookies, so it might take us a little bit to get you an answer, but we'll do our best.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning. Look forward to having you participate this year, and thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you on Saturday.